Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so first of all, I welcome all of you in this lecture. So, good morning to everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, now what about your practical number two? Do you have any difficulties in that? Yes, no difficulty.
So question number 3 एक बार बताइए ना.
Okay, see those questions, see that practical we will discuss in my 12:14 lecture. Okay, today I am going to engage your one more lecture which is at 12:14. Okay, so we will discuss that practical in that lecture. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Till then, you just see which question you are not able to solve. We will discuss all those questions in that lecture. Okay. So let me present my screen to you. Yes, please let me know. Can you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay. So in my last lecture, I gave you one problem for your homework, or in fact, two problems. In that, one of them is show that every constant sequence is convergent. Roughly, I give you the proof of this statement, but please let me know. Can you able to go through this proof, or have you gone through this proof?
Yes, sir.
So, do you have any difficulties while understanding this?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's move further then. Now we are going to deal with a very important result, or you can say a theorem. And the statement of that theorem is limit of a convergent sequence is unique. Now, what is the meaning of this statement? Let us understand this first. After that, we are going to see the proof of it. See, I am saying a sequence is convergent, which means what? It is converging to some point. Okay, so let me consider a sequence an, and I am saying this sequence is convergent, hence it is converging to a particular to some point. Let me call that point as A. Okay. Now, what is the statement of this theorem? Whenever the limit of a sequence exists, then it has to be unique. Means what? If you consider the same sequence an, then there will be no such case arises where this sequence converging to point say B which is different from A. If I am considering the same sequence and at the first place I am saying this sequence is converging to this point A, and at the second place I am saying this the same sequence is converging to the point B, then what we are going to conclude is at the end we are going to conclude these 2 points are nothing but the same. मीन्स व्हाट, अगर आप कोई भी सेम सीक्वेंस लेते हो तो वो एक ही पॉइंट पे कन्वर्ज होगी अगर वो सीक्वेंस कन्वर्जेंट है तो. If that sequence is converging to two different points, which means what? That sequence is not convergent. That is the negation, or you can say contrapositive statement of that theorem. Is the statement clear?
Yes,
yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so remember, whenever the limit of the sequence exists, then it has to be the unique, and this is for convergent sequence. And if we are having two different limits for the same sequence, then that sequence is not convergent. That is the contrapositive statement of this theorem. So let us try to understand how we are going to show that. Now see, what is our aim? Our aim is to show the limit of a convergent sequence is unique. which means what? First we are going to consider a convergent sequence. See, if I won't consider the convergent sequence, then we can't talk about the uniqueness. Okay. So for talking about uniqueness, we need to consider a convergent sequence. So consider, let an be the sequence of a real number, and suppose an is a convergent sequence converging to point A. Okay, this is our assumption, because we need to assume a convergent sequence. So let us assume that an is a convergent sequence, and if it is convergent, then it is converging to a point. Let us call that point as A. Now what is our aim? Our aim is to show this point A is the unique real number. Now see, if you remember your practical number 1, then in that I have gave you your question number 1 where you have shown the equivalent thing, right? That is the uniqueness of two real numbers. That is A plus X is equals to B, then that X is unique, if you remember it. Is it
Yes,
or
sir.
not?
Sir.
Okay, the same thing we are going to follow over here, but using the definition of convergent sequence. Remember, what is our aim? Our aim is to show this number A is the unique real number. So what we are going to assume that, suppose this sequence is converging to another real number, let us call it as B. And at the end, we are going to show that B is nothing but the A. Ultimately, we are going to show A is exactly equals to B. Is the idea clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us try to prove. Okay, so suppose if possible there exists a real number A prime. Okay, now they are denoting this number B by this letter A prime. Okay, doesn't matter, it is just the notation. ओके हमें प्रूव क्या करना है, ये नंबर जो भी ए होगा वो यूनिक होगा. बट हियर वी आर अज्यूमिंग दैट सपोज देयर एग्जिस्ट अनदर रियल नंबर, लेट अस कॉल इट एज ए प्राइम, सच दैट दिस सीक्वेंस ए एन इज कन्वर्जिंग टू दिस ए प्राइम. And at the end we are going to show this A is exactly equals to A prime, which means what? The limit of this convergent sequence is unique. Okay, now what do we mean by an is converging to A, or you can say an is converging to A prime? Then use the definition of convergent sequence. Yes, can anybody recall it for me? What is the definition of convergent sequence in terms of epsilon and naught? See, गलत हुआ चलेगा, but I want answer from your side. At least you can try.
So for every
Yes, Abhyat, you can say.
for every epsilon bigger than 0, there
For,
exists
yes,
n belongs to natural numbers such that mod of an minus a is less than epsilon for all n bigger than n naught, bigger than or equals to n naught.
exactly. So that is our definition of a convergent sequence. So for that, we need to pick a number epsilon which is bigger than 0. So let us consider, let epsilon bigger than 0 be any arbitrary real number. Okay. Be any arbitrary real number, then there exists n1. Okay, now instead of n0, or you can say n0, we are going to consider there exists a real number, there exists the natural number n1, such that mod of an minus a is less than epsilon. Now see, epsilon is anyway a positive number. So what can I say about epsilon by 2?
Positive number.
This is also positive number. So we can replace this epsilon by 2. Okay, very soon you will know why we are doing this thing over here. Okay, because see, at the end Our aim is to show this at the end. See, whenever I'm saying a is exactly equals to a primes, which means what? These two numbers are very close to each other. This is equivalent to say a minus a prime is less than epsilon. See, whenever I'm saying such kind of statement, which means what? I'm picking this epsilon to be very small number, or you can say this number is exactly equals to 0, but actually it is not. It is coming closer and closer towards 0. So remember, when I am going to say this modulus is less than 0, is it possible? Mod of any real number is less than 0, is it possible?
No, sir.
So if it is not possible, then what we can say? A minus a prime exactly equals to 0. So if a minus a prime exactly equals to 0, which means what? We can say a is exactly equals to a prime. Is the idea clear?
Yes, sir.
So for this we are assuming this is epsilon by 2. At the end you will know it. Why we are assuming this is epsilon by 2. Okay, so here we are just using the definition of convergent sequence for an converging to a. So there exist, now see, we are having two sequences. First one is what? An converging to a, and another one is what? An converging to a prime. That's why I am using n1 and n2 over here. Instead of n0, I am using n1 and n2 because we are having two sequences. Or you can say one sequence converging to two different points. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is true for all n bigger than or is equals to n1. Now let us again use the same definition for an converging to a prime. Then there exists the natural number n2 belongs to n such that mod of an minus a prime is less than epsilon by 2 for all n bigger than or is equals to n2. Now we are going to combine these two statements in a single statement. Okay, for that we are assuming this n naught to be bigger than or is equals n naught to be maximum of n1 comma n2. Now the question arises, sir, why we are going to take only maximum of these two? The reason is we want to combine these two statements. In the first statement we are having n is bigger than or is equals to n1. In the second statement we are having n is bigger than or is equals to n2. Now you answer my question. See, in the first statement, we are having n is bigger than or is equals to n1. In the second statement, we are having n is bigger than or is equals to n2. Do we know any relation between n1 and n2? Yes. Do we have any such relation? See, we are saying what? There exists n1 belongs to natural number, and we are saying there exists n2 belongs to natural number. So right now we don't have any relation between n1 and n2. Is it or not?
Yes, sir.
So for establish that relation, we are going to consider this statement, that is n naught is equals to maximum of. Please understand this carefully because we are using this kind of trick very often in this course. Okay, so n naught is equals to maximum of n1 comma n2. Now what is the meaning of n naught is bigger, n naught is equals to maximum of n1 comma n2? What is the meaning of this statement?
So n naught is bigger than or equals to n1 and n naught is bigger than or equals to n2.
Means what? We are having two cases, right? Suppose n1 is bigger than n2. So what we can say? N naught is either bigger than or is equals to n1, and n1 is bigger than n2. So this is our first case. And what is our second case? If n2 is bigger than n1, then we are having this situation. Is it or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
And
sir.
if both are same, then we are having equality over here. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
And remember, what is our statement? For all n bigger than or is equals to n naught. Okay. And how we are picking this n naught? N naught is bigger than or is equals to n1, and this is bigger than or is equals to n2. See, if you want, you can reverse the places of n1 and n2 due to this definition. Okay, which I have explained it to you over here. So now we are combining these two statement in a single statement using this n naught is equals to maximum of n1 comma n2. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
now we are combining these two statements in a single statement such that for all n bigger than or is equals to n naught, we are having mod of an minus a is less than epsilon by 2, and see there is no need of writing this also. Okay, ये भी आपको लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है, because this statement is saying that thing only. If we are choosing n naught to be maximum of n1 comma n2, this is for your understanding purpose, but there is no need of writing that. Then for all n bigger than or is equals to n naught, we are having this. Also, we are having this modulus, because we are combining these two statement in a single statement, and this is true for all n bigger than or is equals to n naught, where n naught is nothing but the maximum of n1 comma n2. Now, what is the reason behind it? Why we are combining these two statements? Because our aim is to show this relation, that is mod of a minus a prime is strictly less than epsilon. Now here you will know why we have chosen epsilon by 2. Okay, so let n naught bigger than or is equals to n naught. Then let us talk about this modulus. You consider mod of a minus a prime. Then what you are going to do is you just add and subtract an throughout this modulus, or you can say inside this modulus. Now you combine first term in one bracket and the last two terms in another bracket. Now which inequality we are going to use it over here?
Triangle inequality.
Triangle inequality. Okay, this is not plus. So this is less than or is equals to mod of an minus a plus mod of an minus a prime. See here we can interchange the rule because we are in the modulus. So we can take minus sign common. And we know that modulus of minus 1 is 1. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now what we know about this modulus using this statement? What we know about mod of an minus a?
It is less than epsilon by 2.
This is strictly less than epsilon by 2. What about this second modulus, mod of an minus a prime?
Strictly less than epsilon by 2.
This is strictly less than epsilon by 2. So we are having epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2. So this addition gives me epsilon. And we have shown that this statement, that is mod of a minus a prime, is strictly less than epsilon. Which means what? Now we are in this situation. That's why we have chosen this epsilon by 2, because at the end we want epsilon. Is that clear why we have chosen epsilon by 2?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this gives me what? And remember, mod of a minus a prime is less than epsilon, and this is true for every epsilon, because epsilon is any arbitrary real number. So what happens? This epsilon is very close to 0. So this is possible only when A is exactly equals to A prime. Thus, we can conclude that limit of a convergent sequence is unique. Is the proof clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now remember here, you just use the definition of convergent sequence, and this is the important point. Okay, this is the important point where you are combining this two statement in a single statement. See, if we won't combine this statement, then we can't talk about this statement over here. Because see what happens if I won't use this statement, then we are having this an minus a is less than epsilon by 2 for all n bigger than or is equals to n1 only. Okay, and this second modulus, that is mod of an minus a prime, this is true for all n bigger than or is equals to n2 only. And we don't know what is the relation between n1 and n2. So to deal with such situation, we are going to considering n naught to be maximum of n1 comma n2. सी अगर हम ये नहीं लेते तो हम इस स्टेटमेंट के बारे में बात ही नहीं कर पाते. Okay, that's why this is the key point in this statement. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the next theorem is every convergent sequence is bounded. Now what do we mean by a bounded sequence? Yes, what is a bounded sequence? Yes, Aradhana Singh, what is bounded sequence?
It is bounded above as well as bounded below.
So a sequence which is bounded above as well as bounded below is nothing but the bounded sequence. Now, what you can say, how you are going to deal with this result? Every convergent sequence is bounded, which means what? First, we are going to assume any convergent sequence. Let us assume that it is an. And our aim is to show that convergent sequence is bounded, which means what? We are going to show that sequence is bounded above as well as bounded below. Is the idea clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I will explain this statement only the definition of convergent sequence, but I will ask you to go through this proof by your own. Okay, let me just give you the idea of it. Okay, in fact, we are going to proving that statement. Okay, what we are going to assume is that an is a convergent sequence. Okay, so if it is convergent means what? It is converging to some point A. And this is the notation of convergent sequence, that is an converging to this point A. So by the definition of convergent sequence, for epsilon bigger than 0, there exists n naught belongs to natural number such that mod of an minus a is less than epsilon, and this is true for all n bigger than or is equals to n naught. Okay, now tell me, what is this a? A is from which set?
Real numbers.
So a is a real number. Okay, so a belongs to R. And what we know about epsilon? This belongs to what? R plus. See, we are picking epsilon is any positive number, which means what? Epsilon belongs to R plus. Now, how can I write this modulus using property of real number? Can I write this modulus in terms of this? That is, this is less than epsilon and bigger than minus epsilon. Can I write it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So here we are using the property of modulus of real number. Now what we are going to do is you just add a throughout this inequality. So on the left hand side we are having a minus epsilon, in the middle we are having an, and on the right hand side we are having a plus epsilon. Okay, now here is the trick. Okay, I am not going according to your book, but let me give you some idea how we are going to prove that every convergent sequence is bounded. See, यहाँ तक हमने कुछ नई चीज यूज की क्या? जो हमें पता था हमने वही यूज किया. Okay, here we just use the definition. We just open this modulus and just adding a throughout this inequality. Whether we have did anything new over here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So now what is the trick? See, remember, ultimately our aim is to show this an is bounded sequence. So if you remember, then we have proved this result, that is mod of an is less than or is equals to k. See, if I won't include equality, then also it's fine, because that will also guarantee that this mod an is anyway bounded by k, and this is true for all n. Hence, we can conclude that this sequence an is bounded sequence. So what we are going to assume is, we are going to assume this right hand part is nothing but k, and this left hand part is nothing but minus k. So we can conclude this statement, that is an mod of an is strictly less than k, and this is true for all n. Hence, we are concluding that this sequence an is bounded sequence. Is the idea clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the key point. Why we are saying every convergent sequence is bounded, because this follows just by the definition of convergent sequence. Is the proof clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you just go through the proof which is there in your book. See, we are picking epsilon be anyway positive real number. So in particular, we can pick epsilon to be 1. So they proceed in this format, that is epsilon, they are picking epsilon to be 1. So according to the definition, this modulus is strictly less than 1, and this is true for all n bigger than or is equals to n naught. Further, you consider mod n, add and subtract a throughout this inequality. Now use triangle inequality. Okay, but this first modulus is strictly less than 1, and you keep this mod a as it is, and this is true for all n bigger than or is equals to n naught. Now here is the crucial thing, how you are going to pick this m, or you can say k. So you need to pick m to be maximum of mod of a1, comma mod of a2, comma mod of an naught minus 1, comma 1 plus mod a. Then we are having mod a1 is less than or is equals to m, mod a2 is less than or is equals to m, mod an naught minus 1 less than or is equals to m, and we have shown that this mod an is strictly less than 1 plus mod a, but we are taking the maximum of all these numbers. and that maximum is nothing but the capital M. So we can say that this mod M is less than or is equals to capital M for all n bigger than or is equals to n naught. Hence, mod an is less than or is equals to m for all n. This gives me that this sequence an is the bounded sequence. Okay, so you can proceed in this format, because see why we are taking this maximum of all the sequences. Yes, because this statement is saying this is true for all n bigger than or is equals to n naught. So we don't know what about the terms which are less than n naught. See, this statement gives me the guarantee that mod of a n naught is less than 1 plus mod a. Mod of a n naught plus 1 is less than 1 plus mod a. मीन्स वॉट, ये जो स्टेटमेंट हमें मिला दैट इज मॉड ऑफ ए एन is strictly less than 1 plus mod a. This is true for all n bigger than or is equals to n naught. Means n naught नहीं तो n naught से बड़े वाले जो भी नंबर हम लेंगे. Okay, let me correct myself. This is in the suffix. Okay, this is a n naught plus 1. सो एन नॉट या फिर एन नॉट से बड़े नेचुरल नंबर लेंगे, उनके लिए मुझे ये बाउंड मिलेगा. ओके, बट व्हाट हैपेंस टू दोज नेचुरल नंबर विच आर लेस देन एन नॉट? दैट्स व्हाई वी आर कंसिडरिंग दिस मैक्सिमम ऑफ those n naught which are less than this n naught. Okay, and this is not a n naught minus 1, this is in the suffix. Okay, this is a n naught minus 1. ओके, क्योंकि ये जो भी सफिक्स है ये सारे n naught से छोटे हैं. And this is the bound we are getting for those n which are bigger than or is equals to n naught. That's why we are taking the maximum of all such things. And if you take this maximum, then you are already done, because you can see, then you can able to conclude. फर्स्ट a1 के लिए ये बाउंड होगा बाय m, a2 के लिए भी बाउंडेड मिलेगा बाय m. सिमिलरली a n नॉट, दिस इज इन द सफिक्स, a n नॉट माइनस 1 के लिए भी हमें ये बाउंडेड मिलेगा बाय m. और इसके लिए तो हमने पहले ही बात कर दी, मॉड ऑफ ए एन इज लेस देन इज इक्वल्स टू 1 प्लस मॉड ए. And we are saying m is nothing but the maximum of this, so we can conclude this is less than or is equals to m. And this is true for all n bigger than or is equals to n naught. तो ये सारे नेचुरल नंबर के लिए ट्रू हुआ, दोज आर बिगर देन और इज इक्वल्स टू n naught. और ये मुझे गारंटी देगा कि फर्स्ट n naught माइनस 1 के लिए हमें यहाँ से बाउंड मिलेगा. सो कंबाइनिंग दिस टू, वी आर गोइंग टू से mod an is less than or is equals to m for all n belongs to natural number. See, अगर हम खाली यही स्टेटमेंट लेके चले, then we can't say this is true for all natural number. Here this is only true for all n which are bigger than or is equals to n naught. लेकिन हमें उनके बारे में सोचना पड़ेगा जो n naught से छोटे होंगे. इसीलिए हमने ये मैक्सिमम में वो सारे n नॉट भी इंक्लूड कर दिए वो जो n नॉट से छोटे हैं. इज इट क्लियर?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
ओके, आई होप आई हैवंट कंफ्यूज यू. ओके, नाउ so see, we have shown that every convergent sequence is bounded. But what you can say about the converse of this statement? What is the converse of this statement?
Every convergent sequence is unbounded.
Is it a converse? See, if you remember your logic chapter in your 11 or you can say 12 standard, so here we are having two statement. First one is convergent sequence. Okay, this is the short form of convergent, and this is the short form of sequence. So P is the statement where we are considering a convergent sequence, and Q is the statement where we are considering a bounded sequence. Okay, let me use the abbreviation for bounded. And we are saying that P implies Q. Okay, that is every convergent sequence is bounded, which is nothing but P implies Q. So what is the contrapositive of this statement? No, it is not contrapositive. What is the converse of this statement? Converse means reverse part.
So if the sequence is bounded, then it is convergent sequence.
That is nothing but the converse part. That is Q implies P. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So my question is the converse true? That is, can I always say every bounded sequence is a convergent sequence? Here we have shown that every convergent sequence is bounded. So no matter which convergent sequence you pick, we are always getting that convergent sequence is a bounded sequence. But now we are interested in the converse, whether this converse is true. That is, can I say every bounded sequence is convergent?
Yes, sir.
So Abhyat is saying or Abhyat is guessing it is yes. What about others? Okay. So see, in my previous lecture, we have already seen about this sequence, that is minus 1 to the power n. And what we have shown this sequence is convergent or divergent? Yes, if you remember my previous lecture, then there we have already taken this example. Where is that? Mm, observe. Observe what we have shown, minus 1 to the power n is which kind of sequence?
Divergent.
Divergent sequence. Now my question is it bounded? Minus 1 to the power n is it a bounded sequence? What is your guess? See, for boundedness, what you are going to show, you just take this modulus. And if you can able to show that this modulus is less than or is equals to some real number m which is bigger than 0, then we can conclude that this sequence minus 1 to the power n is bounded. Now try to observe and tell me, can I say this sequence is bounded? And if it is bounded, then it is bounded by which number? If you confuse, then you can slightly do something more. This I can write it as minus 1 in the modulus to the power n. So what is mod of minus 1?
1.
1. And what is 1 to the power n?
One.
Yes, 1 to the power n is always 1. So can I say we are getting the bound for this modulus, which is nothing but this is less than or is equals to 1.
Yes, sir.
So what we are concluding over here, can I say now this sequence is bounded sequence?
Yes, sir.
And here we are saying this minus 1 to the power n is not convergent. So can I say the converse of that statement is true?
No, sir.
No. So this is the counter example for the converse part. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So what we are going to say? Every convergent sequence is bounded, but converse is not true. For that, you can give this example minus 1 to the power n. This is the bounded sequence, but it is not convergent. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here boundedness is the necessary condition for convergence of a sequence. That is, an is convergent implies an is bounded, but this condition is not sufficient. That is, if an is not bounded, or here we are using the contrapositive of this statement. That is, see, what is the contrapositive of this statement? If I assume this is P and this is Q, then here we are saying P implies Q. And what is the contrapositive? If an is not bounded, then an cannot be a convergent sequence. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So remember, this is the very important remark. Why it is important? See, sometimes it may difficult to check whether the sequence is convergent or not. But sometimes it is quite often to check whether the sequence is bounded or not. And if you are getting that sequence is not bounded, then using this contrapositive wala statement, we can able to conclude that this sequence n cannot be a convergent sequence if it is not bounded. Is the remark one clear?
Yes, sir.
And if we can able to show that sequence is convergent, then automatically it is bounded, because this follows using just the definition of a sequence, convergent sequence. Now the second one is what? Boundedness is not a sufficient condition for convergence of a sequence. Now why it is not sufficient? Because the converse of that statement is not true. That is, if an is bounded, then it need not imply that an is convergent. For example, you can take this sequence an is equals to minus 1 to the power n. This is the bounded sequence. In fact, it is bounded by 1. And this is true for all natural number. This we have already just seen. But we have already proved in example 3 that this minus 1 to the power n is not a convergent sequence. So remember, boundedness is just the necessary condition for convergence, but it is not sufficient condition for convergence. Is the remark clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us try to. Okay, now these are a very useful statement in this sequences, and we are going to call this as algebra of limits. Okay, algebra of limits of sequences. Okay, now I am not going to prove all the statements. Rather, we are going to see one or two statements, and I am leaving the remaining statements for your homework. Here also, we are going to play a trick to choose n not to be maximum of n1 comma n2, because here we are talking about two sequences. So we need to combine those two sequences in the single statement, as like the case in case of limit of a convergent sequence is unique. वहां पे हमने जैसे किया हम as it is follow करेंगे. Okay, that's why I already told you that we are going to use that trick very often in this course. So let me give you the statement of this theorem. So let an and bn be real convergent sequences. Okay, and if these two are convergent sequences, So let us assume that first sequence an is converging to point A and the second sequence bn is converging to point B. Then first statement is what? If I add these two sequences first, then if these two, or you can say the addition of these two sequences is convergent, then it is converging to A plus B. Have you understood this statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Means what? See, if you take this limit, that is an plus bn, then according to your junior college algebra, you can split this limit. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So this gives me what? Limit an plus limit bn. But what is limit an? We are assuming that limit an is nothing but a. And what is limit bn? Limit bn is nothing but b. So in fact, we are saying this statement. That is limit of an plus bn is same as a plus b, because an converging to a and bn converging to b. Similarly, if I replace this addition symbol with negative symbol, then also this statement follows. Okay, so in that case, we are having an minus bn is equals to a minus b. Is the first statement clear?
Yes, sir.
Second one is what? This is just the scalar multiplication. Remember, multiplication and scalar multiplication both are different things. Scalar multiplication means what? We are multiplying a sequence by a real number, that is nothing but alpha. And if I am multiplying two sequences, which means we are in this situation, that is an dot bn, where I am considering both the sequence, where I am considering the multiplication of two sequences, but these two are totally different. Okay, in the fourth statement, we are multiplying two sequences. In the second statement, we are multiplying a sequence by a scalar, or you can say a real number. So remember, don't confuse with that. So alpha times an is convergent sequence and it is converging to alpha times a. See, if you remember, then in your school level, or you can not in school level, in your junior college, okay, you just answer me this. What is limit as x approaches to 3? What is the answer of 2x? Yes? See, ये आपने already सीखा है. And I think I can expect this much from your side. What
Sir,
is the yes?
6.
Exactly. See, here there is no singularity. Okay? Or there is no point where we are having the problem for this function. So we can directly substitute this limit. So for that, what we are going to do, we can take this to outside. Okay, and the limit of this function is nothing but 3. So here we are having 2 times 3. Hence we are getting this is nothing but 6. So here this 2 is working as a number alpha. So we can take this alpha outside. And this gives me a. This is alpha times an. Okay, so we can take this alpha outside and the limit of this an is nothing but a. So we can conclude it is nothing but alpha times a. That is the meaning of second statement. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Third one is what? Mod of an is convergent sequence and it is converging to mod a. Okay, so you can take this limit inside the modulus and limit of an is nothing but a. So here we are getting mod a. See, using the definition of limit, these are very straightforward checks. But we are going to prove these statements using epsilon and not definition. Okay, similarly, the fourth statement is an dot bn is convergent and is converging to a dot b. Now, what about this one? An upon bn, where it is converging? If I take the limit outside, then where it is converging? See, in the
A
division
upon
part, you can separate the limit. So, limit of an upon limit of bn. So, this gives me what?
A upon B.
A upon b. Now, observe whether we need to add something in this statement. Is it always defined?
So where B is non-zero.
Where both bn and b are non-zero. Remember, if they becomes 0, then this is undefined. So this is the crucial thing. Okay, so we need to assume bn is non-zero, also b is non-zero. Is the statement clear?
Yes, sir.
So here we are having that statement. Okay, so it's already 8:47. So let me stop this lecture here. Okay, we will see the proof of one of the two statements in my next lecture, which is at 12:14. Okay, today I am going to engage your lecture at 12:14. So let me stop this lecture here, and all of you please bring your difficulties which you are having in your practical number 2. We will discuss those difficulties in that lecture. Okay, so now you can exit from this meeting.